Ten of Wands is all about pushing yourself to the limits. And we need to do this in the big moments of our life, but it's not sustainable. So Ten of Wands can represent that kind of burnout. And to draw Ten of Wands as the focal point is to look at how much we're harming ourselves by pushing ourselves too far in a way that is unsustainable. So I really like this reading. It was a little unclear at first because Ten of Wands can be a good energy when it's all about like a singular moment, like a big performance or a big test or a big competition, but it's not something that you can hold on to day forever. So there are multiple interpretations at first, but the other cards of the reading showed up to put it into context. So you can watch my thinking out loud throughout this reading. There's a bit of a wavering on how to interpret the Ten of Wands, but as the other cards come in, it brings it all into a larger context. And the important thing when giving readings is you don't just do the first card and set it aside and then go to the second card and then set that aside and then go to the third and the fourth card. The cards aren't functioning individually. They're functioning as syllables in a larger statement or phrase. There's a musical chord that the cards are coming together to resonate at. So as you keep drawing cards, be sure to keep tying in the new cards into the old cards of the reading, and that you're always building a complete singular message that all the cards are adding up to. So if you want to learn more about tarot, I run an online community and classroom on School called the Arcana Conservatory. We have dozens of members now from all over the world who are tarot enthusiasts. We have multiple weekly calls where we all get together and nerd out about all things tarot. And we have weekly challenges where I'm giving writing assignments and side quests to go out into the real world, and special reading formats to unpack the elements of each card, and also AMAs, special seminars. We've got a classroom debuting soon. It's just meant to be a place for me to teach everything I know about tarot, and for a community to come together to share and learn together about tarot as a healing art. So I hope you check it out. The link is all over the place in the description and my profile, and I hope to see you there. And thanks for watching. Let's get to the reading. So beginning with the focal point, this is what the reading is about. This is the element of the querent's life that demands the most focus and attention, and almost like a knot in a muscle. And massaging out that knot will bring the querent back into a greater sense of wholeness. So the focal point is the Ten of Wands. So Wands is symbolically the suit of fire. It represents the inner fire of the spirit that wants to create your reality. It's the essential you. The other three suits, you have a mind, but you don't have the same mind you had years ago. You have to keep renewing the mind. You have a body, your body's always changing. And you have a heart, but the heart is in a state of constant flow and renewal. Wands is something more essential. Think of it like a thin white line down the center of your spine, and it radiates your will outward into the world. It's the capital W, will. It's the will of the soul, or the will of the spirit. So it's eternal. And the suit from Ace to 10 shows how this creative spirit can be utilized and expressed, and the sort of entire spectrum and bandwidth of what's available in your creative life. And Ten of Wands represents the absolute far end of that bandwidth. You can see that this character has become overburdened with the symbol of the suit. It's just too much. It's the ultimate expression of the furthest we're capable of pushing ourselves, the absolute maximum of what we're able to create, of what fire we're able to burn. So 10 of Wands often shows up in moments of burnout and pushing yourself all the way. 9 of Wands, by contrast, is that kind of sweet spot where you're right at the edge of what you're capable of. 10 of Wands pushes past the edge all the way to this oftentimes glorious but chaotic explosion of energy that is more than you thought you had. 10 of Wands is the kind of energy of like cramming the night before a test, or the night of a big performance, or like a triathlon. It's when you have an outlier in your typical output as a creative being. And by creativity, I don't mean specifically individual works of art. I mean the act of creativity of the work of art of your life itself. So Wands is all about being the master artist of living. So 10 of Wands can show up in those moments of greatness where we leave it all on the field, so to say, but it's not sustainable. These are isolated moments of pushing dramatically past our perceived limits, which we need to do occasionally in life, but not something that can be maintained indefinitely. So to draw the 10 of Wands for this person, they're either in a place of burnout or they're really stepping up to the plate for something huge. And I would say when you're giving readings, don't try to be too impressive by making declarations one way or the other. When there's moments of uncertainty with two interpretations of a card, you can ask the person if they're in a place of burnout or if they're in a place of needing to really step it up for a big expression or a big moment of performance. But in either case, it's about relating to this energy of pushing yourself all the way. And that takes up all the attention. So I would say more likely it's about not admitting someone's in a place of burnout, but it could also be a big goal that the person's nervous about. So ultimately, the reading is about what's needed to receive and what's needed to give in order to pull off the big performance or the big push of creative energy. Conversely, it's all about what's needed to get out of this state of burnout. So let's see what happens when we pull the gift to receive and the gift to give, and then major arcana to sum it all up. So for this person, the gift to receive would be the world. So the world is a very special major arcana because it comes at the end of the major arcana sequence. It's the summation of all energies. It's the completion of the great work. It's the arrival at the end of history, the end of seeking, the end of all of the challenges. It's a feeling of wholeness that comes when the task of becoming who we are is at its most high resolution and most visible. So to receive the world for the 10 of Wands, it would be to say that everything about this creative struggle, this struggle with burnout, this struggle with performing past one's limits, you're getting a glimpse of a larger truth about what the world is, how the world works, and what is trying to be demonstrated through the majesty of being a human and living a lifetime. The world is often a glimpse of the big answers to the big questions of why we're here, what we're doing, how does it all fit together. So we need to push ourselves past our limits in order to understand what's really going on. There's a kind of truth of life that only comes when we are out of breath, either physically or existentially or creatively. There's an inexhaustible creative force within us. And if we don't have these opportunities to push it to the limit to see what we're capable of, we're missing out on a larger truth. So I would say there's some agony and some glory in the act of this pushing boundaries, pushing creative limits, that there's an image of a kind of divine perfection that is being witnessed. So if this character is in unsustainable burnout, then receiving the world is all about understanding the larger territory of their struggles and noticing how their creative burnout is affecting everything. They might think about it's just about the one project or the one goal, but they're pushing themselves past their limits in every context. So it could end up being unhealthy across the board. But if this character is rising to a singular moment, they're catching a glimpse of their true power. And a lot of times we push ourselves into the zone of Ten of Wands and we feel like it's impossible, and then we do it and we realize that it is in fact possible. So there's a redefinition of our limits. So I want to draw the gift to give to really start to nail down what's going on with this reading. There's something this character is being invited to give or create in order to transform their relationship to this Ten of Wands energy for the better. And that is the Six of Cups. So Six of Cups is all about this nostalgia for childhood and a sense of innocence and connecting with the power of vulnerability and the power of uncomplicated relationships and friendships. Yeah. You can imagine that as we get older, we learn more about how precious youth is and how precious optimism is, the way that children are able to make friends effortlessly on the playground. We lose touch with that. We take ourselves very seriously. So giving the Six of Cups, I would say, putting the rest of the reading into context, is that Six of Cups wants to be expressed because there's an imbalance in the energy of pushing oneself. I have to be the best. I have to ace the test. I have to pull off the ultimate performance. I have to win. And Ten of Wands often shows up when we're pushing ourselves to accomplish some greater goal. But there's an energy of playfulness that wants to reveal itself. This is a character, this is an Aquarian who is pushing themselves way too hard, and they're being invited to let in a kind of innocent, playful energy and receive the fact that they've already won. There is no challenge to overcome. There is no race to win. They are already whole and perfect, even without pushing themselves to this degree. So they can receive the fact of their being enough. This character is pushing themselves because they think that there's something they have to accomplish in order to be worthy of what the world has to offer. But the world is saying, I'm giving myself as a gift to you no matter what. You already won before you were even born. There is no way to lose this game of being alive in this lifetime. The world is already yours. You don't have to destroy yourself in order to prove yourself. You can allow yourself to play and have fun and embrace the world like you were a child, embracing the play of openness and possibility and just allowing and dancing with the energy that comes up. So this person needs to lighten up, needs to let themselves off the hook And it's almost like a someone who's in a friendly competition or sport or game that they have built up to mean too much, and they start to get aggressive. They start to try and find anything to get an edge over their competitors. They start getting nasty, and they start getting nasty to themselves about how they're not good enough. And it gets to this kind of toxic ambition and pushing themselves too hard. And they ought to do well to remember that this is all supposed to be fun, and we're all members of one global family. We're all brothers and sisters in the family of humanity. And you have to laugh, you have to play, you have to let things go. And the more you do that by giving the Six of Cups, and the more you allow for the fact that you are already complete, you don't have to bend over backwards to prove anything, not even to yourself. And what is the larger lesson? Well, not necessarily lesson, but there's a larger theme at work in this reading that comes from the Circle of Doors tarot deck that is a guaranteed major arcana. But you can do this with any deck. I recommend having at least one deck in your collection where you keep the major arcana separately, so you can do a majors only pull in order to see what's really going on here. And in this case, that would be the star. So the star represents a divine inspiration from beyond. It's something about being alive, something about living a lifetime, something about existing, something about consciousness that is beyond our current understandings. It's the ultimate cosmic mystery. So there's a higher ideal that this querent is being invited to consider, because they want to be the best, they want to win, they want to push themselves, they want to feel worthy in that such a narrow context of like, I got to make the thing, I got to win the competition, I got to beat everybody else at this one thing that I'm good at. And if I'm not good enough at this one thing, then I'm unworthy of something. So accepting that you're already worthy and not taking it too seriously, and putting your focus on something bigger. And the way that you feel when you're basking in the night sky or the ocean or a seemingly endless natural landscape, star represents a feeling of cosmic awe where we humble ourselves because we admit that there are things that we don't understand about reality. But when we look at reality, we see a majesty and almost a feeling of awareness, like reality is looking back at us. And in the way that cosmologists talk about us as the sensory organs of the universe itself, we are the way by which the universe knows itself. So star represents that kind of elevated perspective. So we want that kind of elevated perspective in this case, because this person's taking things way too seriously, and they're going to hurt themselves if they push themselves that much more. So accept the gift that you're already complete. Don't take it too seriously. Try to have fun and open up to being playful with others, and understand that there are bigger fish to fry as far as defining yourself and making choices on where to spend your energy. So hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.